and I want to raise two other matters concerning Clause 1. The first is the use of the word royal, and I'd say to my colleague Brendan Burns that when he speaks of correspondence he'd received from people in France, that they would never have the Royal Society as an organisation in France because, of course, they had the French Revolution. And we did not. And that matters. That matters because the Royal Society signals that in the British tradition for the past several hundred years, which is, after all, the entire life of scientific inquiry, it has been offered the patronage of royalty. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. I'm not saying that France is poorer for it. I'm just saying that it is a good thing that if one is going to have royalty, that it is worthwhile that royalty patronise science, because science or technology, and these days science and technology and humanities, represents the idea of further endeavour, the idea of rolling back the frontiers of knowledge, the idea of progressing humans' insatiable desire to answer questions, our curiosity, and so on. To have that backed by royalty is the opposite of the Dark Ages. And so it kind of matters that we've got Royal Society in the title. There's another thing about the title which matters, I think, and that is that it is not the Royal Society of Science and Technology and Humanities. It is just, folks, the Royal Society. Because no further explanation is needed. You understand. It's something where you say the Royal Society, and those in the know that it means the Royal Society of Sciences. And there's a sort of there's a certain sort of cachet about that, which I don't personally pay a lot of attention to, but it's worth pointing out that it is called the Royal Society of China. It is the Chinese Academy of Scientists. So they explain themselves. They don't call themselves the Chinese Academy. I don't know what it's called in France, and we won't wander around the world on that matter, but it is important that in New Zealand, when you say that Royal Society, you're talking about higher learning. Now, the other point I wish to raise might seem to be pernickety, but I wonder if the member in the chair could offer some assistance. And that is the use of the term Royal Society of New Zealand Amendment Bill as opposed to the Royal Society of New Zealand Amendment Bill. This is not minor. The Royal Society is never called Royal Society until we come and make it a creature of legislation, in which case we change its name from the Royal Society to Royal Society. We did it in the 60s, we did it in the 90s, and we're doing it again now, and I wonder whether we should fix it. Why is it that when we talk about the Royal Society in our ordinary daily lives, and we know that we're referring to the Royal Society being the Society of Sciences and now of Humanities as well, that we will not find it under that language in the legislative index? We have to get rid of the in order to find it, and find it under R, not T. Now, I don't know that that's ideal, and I think the member may want to reflect on that. I was never on the Select Committee. I don't know if it was raised at the Select Committee. I do think that it would be inappropriate for me to put an amendment on the floor without a little bit of discussion here and backwards and forwards on it. But on the other hand, I don't think it's trivial. We've listed it under the wrong letter of the alphabet. And I think that the Royal Society has been, always will be, something that begins with what a that is. Is it a participle? Is it a what? What is it? An and. I've forgotten what part of speech it is. But perhaps someone could tell us what that is. Someone in humanities could tell us what that is. I see that Mr. Chairman is reaching for his button, and I wonder if Mr. Chairman is indicating that I need to sit down. Just yet? I don't. Then let me probably sit down anyway. Would that be a good idea, Mr. Chairman? Because we don't need to waste the time of the House, especially if my colleague is ready to offer his erudite remarks.
Keith Locke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think there are